Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, Excellencies, my dear brother President Imam Ali Rahmanov, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is an honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this very important roundtable discussion at COP-29. I truly appreciate all of you for taking the time to participate in this very important event. The reason I have sought this meeting is to foster new thinking on an old problem which is becoming complicated at all our climate forums without yielding substantial results. Today we stand at a crucial threshold where the global climate finance framework must be redefined to effectively meet the needs of vulnerable nations. Despite years of promises and repeated commitments, the gaps are growing in quantum leaps, leading to egregious barriers in achieving the objective of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. I think we all agree that financing resilience as well as ambition is the most urgent need of the hour. Developing countries need to deliver to their people on NDCs, which is why we need to spur both ideas and discourse to make international climate finance more responsive, equitable, and innovative enough to address solutions that increase the scale, reach, and effectiveness of climate finance for developing and vulnerable countries to reach sustainability and resilience goals. Ladies and gentlemen, developing countries will need an estimated $6.8 trillion by 2030 to implement less than half their current NDCs. Donor countries should fulfill their commitment to provide 0.7% of their gross national income as development assistance and capitalize existing climate funds. One such commitment, the $100 billion annual climate finance pledge, established over a decade ago at COP-15, is now reported by the OECD to have reached only $160 billion. Despite this number remaining a tiny proportion of the defined need, a significant part of over this financing is disbursed in the form of loans, further enhancing the debt burden on developing nations and potentially pushing them towards mounting debt traps. I call it death trap. Pakistan can understand the agony and pain of other vulnerable developing countries as we have faced two devastating floods and are still recovering from the loss. In order to spur some transparency and coordination into the financial commitments made to developing countries under climate transfers, Pakistan, alongside many other developing countries, calls for stronger, more equitable climate finance mechanisms under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We therefore propose that a mechanism be set up to measure the unfulfilled pledges, fragmented and incomplete landscape of climate funds to developing countries in what I call welcome, Excellency, welcome. Спасибо. Очень хорошо. to developing countries in what I call internationally determined contributions, whereby major historic emitters should account for climate finance commitments for both migration and adaptation pledges, reflecting their proportionate responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, that cannot become the acceptable new normal in climate financing, which is why we must resume focus on non-debt financing solutions, enabling countries to fund climate initiatives without imposing additional burden. In 2022, when one-third of Pakistan was underwater, the country had to repurpose all its development and climate funds for just financing basic relief and humanitarian efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, developing countries looking to enable energy transitions must also get preferential capacity and technical assistance in fast-tracking consortium financing through various financial instruments. In order to further our goals, I would suggest that UNFCCC set up a committee to review IDCs periodically. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude by stressing the urgent need for reform of the international financial architecture. Now is the time to build upon the momentum for international financial reform, forging a path where no nation is left behind in the global response to climate change. Thank you very much.